But yeah, like it was getting pretty hectic out there. It's so funny because I'm so sheltered because I don't really read the news that much.
Yeah.
I sometimes go on Twitter, but it just makes me sad. And so then all I've just been doing is watching the Olympics and like editing videos, like editing me watching reality TV. So whenever someone messages me like, man, what do you think of all this stuff going on? I'm like, you mean the men's skateboarding prelims? It was sick, dude. You mean beach volleyball? Yeah. Australia lost to Norway last night. I was across it.
Boo. How did we lose beach volleyball? Does Norway even have a fucking beach?
I know.
Don't they live in the snow?
Then, you know what I realized when watching like some of these sports? I was like, you don't even need the terrain to be good at... Like, really, the sand doesn't really affect your volleyball skills too much. You just wear bare feet and it's more fun.
Yeah, I guess so.
Like, I reckon these dudes would be great at court volleyball, obviously, because I don't think they're... Like, imagine, like, if we're like, nah, man, I'm not a sand comedian. I'm a concrete comedian. I don't think the terrain affects it all that much.
Or maybe Norway was doing snow volleyball, and then they got onto a beach, and they're like, "This is so much easier.
Great, yeah.
I'm not slipping. It's warm."
They've released new sports into the Olympics. So there's skateboarding, obviously, which is new. That's pretty fresh. You know what I love about skateboarding?
That's cool.
Yeah, it's so cool because it's different, which is just good because something new.
Yeah.
You know, there's only so many times you can watch like a 240-kilometer cycling race in like the Japanese mountains where you're like, all right, I watched like an hour of it yesterday in the background. I was like, these guys need to hurry up. This is taking too long. But
well, I think they're trying.
The thing I like about the skateboarding is skateboarding culture is really like supportive and everyone's just out there to like do kickflips and shred and have fun. So
gnarly, dude. That's sick.
When like someone like say like when the Brazilian athlete lands a sweet trick, everyone else, all the other competitors who are competing against him are like, bro, and they're all high-fiving and stuff like that. It's so good to watch. It's actually refreshing because the other sports, like, they take it really seriously. Like, they only really shake hands after and go, good match, and then leave. These dudes, like, during the competition are, like, frothing each other's tricks, and it's great.
I'm surprised that they got any skateboarder to get to the Olympics. Like, if you smoke weed, you're banned. So I don't know who these skateboarders are, but they can't be the best in the world.
Isn't one of them like 11 years old? Like, two of them are 11 years old.
What?
There was controversy, I think. So I might be wrong on this, so someone can correct me in the comments below, but I think the minimum age for the Olympics is 14, right? Because they had some trouble in past years with some of the Asian countries enlisting some 11-year-old gymnasts. Like, they think that they were enlisting some younger kids in there.
Because if China is sending 11-year-olds, you know that they've gone through hell from 4 to 9.
To be that good at 11 or 12 or 13. Crazy. But anyway.
There's a lot of ethical questions about, like, just all of China's submissions to the Olympics. Like, no, I don't know if any of them have had a very particularly fun life before they get to the Olympics. And and you know, if they don't win, they are fucked.
You know, I don't know if North Korea are competing this year because in past years, too many of their athletes just escaped the Olympic Village and wanted to live a normal life. Like, they use it as a way to get out, which is insane. But I don't think they're in it. So, yeah, the skateboarding thing was, right, because it was a new sport, they forgot to write the rule in of a minimum age in the new sport. So some countries submitted like some 12-year-old on a loophole because it wasn't technically a rule. And the Olympic Committee were like, fuck. And then the kid just competed, I think.
But why would you submit a 12-year-old? Like, surely an adult would be better. Or is he
this
like
kid
actually
shreds.
sick?
This kid like competed at the X Games and like won a gold medal. Like, he's so good.
That's sick.
It's so sick. And it's funny because it's like funny it's like the funniest sport in my head, I guess, to be beaten at by a 12-year-old. Like, if you got beaten, you know, on floor gymnastics by a 12-year-old, you're like, all right, well, they can whip around and whatever. But
yeah,
like,
they're smaller. They're probably more flexible. They would take more risks than you would maybe. So that's whatever.
but take it as someone
skateboarding-
who frequently gets humiliated by 12-year-olds at skate parks or all around the
Yeah.
country this year. It doesn't feel good at all. And if you're a pro skateboarder, like this
Yeah.
is you've dedicated your whole life to tray flipping, heel flipping, all the various flips and grinds. And then some 12-year-old kid came in who was born when you were probably already a pro skateboarder. Fuck that.
Yeah.
No way. I would be so angry. But again, none of them are angry. They all just sound like ripper dudes.
I've been seeing like a bunch of people like angry that skateboarding is in the Olympics at all, and it's
Why?
like it's clearly like it's more comparable to other sports in the Olympics than a lot of other things are in the like equestrian, like horse events are in the Olympics for some reason. To me, that makes no fucking sense.
sailing
but like
is in the
skateboarding
Olympics.
and gymnastics makes sense.
Yeah, there's so many.
Sailing's hard.
Sailing. Yeah, no, it is hard. I know, it's just like, but you could say that about any sport, is my point. You could just be like, oh, why is that in the Olympics? I don't like
But
that.
sailing is like rowing, right? I feel like all the horse events are like
No,
nothing else.
sailing
in the
is
Olympics.
nothing like rowing. Because rowing is like physical, like...
No,
thing.
but it's a boat. I'm saying sailing and rowing are very similar. They're boat events in water. Don't tell me sailing and rowing aren't alike.
No, but like one is completely reliant on the wind, like, and how good you can catch it in the sail, isn't it? I don't really know a lot about sailing.
I don't know.
One
Isn't
sport-
it really difficult, and you have to be really strong, and there's a lot of pulling.
So-
just like rowing.
Yeah, okay, that's true. No, I'm not taking anything away from a sailor. I admit it's hard. But I'm
Yeah.
just saying, like, one sport that probably shouldn't be in it. So netball's not in the Olympics, right? Which I think is bullshit. Like, if you're going to put skateboarding
Yeah.
in, throw netball in there, basketball,
Yeah.
great. 3-on-3 basketball, half court. It's like king. Have you seen it? Look it up right now.
I didn't realize they did half court. I saw
No,
3
it's
on 3. I'm
new.
like, oh, that would be kind of interesting if it was a full court. It might be, but half court. Yeah,
So
that's
it's-
like a school game.
Yeah, you know, like in school when like you play king and like like you pass the ball and then like they get
Yeah.
it in and then you switch. Like
Yeah.
I watched a bit of it last night. It was just like it seemed like weird. I was like, why don't they put down ball in the Olympics?
Downball would be
Foursquare.
fucking awesome.
You know, if we're gonna put schoolyard games in, let's fucking chuck them all
Hey,
in.
is squash in the Olympics?
I'm
I
not
think that would be sick to watch.
just people smash a ball. I think badminton is. That's probably the closest thing.
Yeah.
Badminton's the one with the little cock. Isn't it called a cock?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
a bit of a laugh.
And the Asian nations always dominate, so
Yeah.
lots of little cocks there.
Yeah. My favourite thing before we move on about the skateboarding was because it is a new sport, and I guess they haven't really got a bunch of blokes from like regional Australia there in Tokyo to commentate it. Clearly, some
Yeah.
old white blokes that have been assigned to commentate the skateboarding. I'll be honest, very informative. They've actually learnt a little bit about the sport,
Yeah.
but it's very clear that they're not skateboarding fans. They're like commentating it like how they would the equestrian. So they clearly have no idea about it. This bloke fell off like 5 times in a row, and one of the commentators just goes, "Oh, that doesn't seem good."
Man, get Tony Hawk in the booth.
Yeah, he just goes, "Oh, I think he's going to score low this round." Like I
Yeah,
was
falling
watching
over is bad.
I was watching it for an hour, could not figure out how it was scored. Like, you know, you watch those sports and then at the
Yeah.
end they get like a 7.2 and you're like, I think that's good. Is that out of 10? Like, I got
Yeah.
no idea.